Hi Libra, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your June 2021 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic crossbred as always, and I also pulled an Oracle card and a Mudra card for you guys. But we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. So we'll do that. Okay, so we have Leo energy. So for you guys, that's your 11th house, so friendships, goals and wishes. And you also have the North Node, which is in Gemini, which is your 9th house of, foreign places, philosophy, higher learning. And we have 12. So the 12th house for you guys, that's Virgo, which is work, daily routine. But yeah, nothing really going on there astrologically, but we'll keep that in mind as we go through the main spread. All right. In the main situation position, we have the 5 of Wands in reverse. So this is Leo energy, so we already see the Leo energy from the dice coming up again. And with this, I'm really getting that you guys just really aren't really feeling the need to compete, to be seen, to be heard. I feel like, you could have a lot of people putting their opinions out there, but I feel like this is saying that you're not really engaging in all that. I feel like you're just, kind of fine standing on your own for the time being. This could be an environment that you're involved in, that there could be a lot of competition going on, and for whatever reason, I'm just getting the feeling that you guys are, withdrawing and falling back from all that and letting them engage in that, but doing your own thing. I feel like I got a similar vibe to this for you guys last month as well, so it could just be a continuation of that energy. But yeah, like I said, it could be around your friend group. Maybe there's a big topic of discussion you guys have going on, and there could be a lot of disagreement around that, and you could just be like, I'm not even really going to engage with all that. I feel like you just have like this kind of deep inner knowing this month that's kind of keeping you out of all that stuff. And it could even just be as simple as you guys might know, like, all right, I know Mercury retrograde is going to be in June, right? So I know there's going to be this potential for all these types of things. So because of that, just having that knowledge ahead of time, you could be like, I'm not even going to bother because I know nothing good's going to come from it anyway, In the challenger obstacle position, we have the Lovers. So this is actually the major arcana card for Gemini. So speaking of which, that is where the Mercury retrograde will be. So it could just be as simple as that, where you're like, you know what, I know that this is a Mercury retrograde situation. I'm going to just have trust and have faith that that's going to get worked out on its own. So I'm not even really going to throw myself in the middle of that, Now, for some of you, given that Leo energy generally represents 5th house energy too, it could just be saying if this is around romance for you guys, this could just be saying that, maybe you're withdrawing from the dating scene, for example, and just kind of taking that approach of, you know what, I'll just have trust and have faith that things will get worked out behind the scenes, and when that right connection, when it's time for me to have that connection, it'll come to my life, All right, in the foundation position, we have the Ace of Swords. So, speaking of inner knowing, that could be what this is pointing to as well, to where, maybe you guys just have this kind of epiphany where, it's kind of changing the way you look at things, and it, might have you guys withdrawing a bit, but more so in a positive way, so not so like in a social isolation type of way, but more of just feeling like, okay, just being more sure of yourself, not really needing to have your viewpoints kind of reflected back to you from others, if that makes sense. So hopefully that made sense. But yeah, but if not, like I said, you guys got the knowledge anyway, so we're good. In the past position, we have the Tower. So speaking of epiphanies, that could have been what this was as well, where maybe you had this change in perspective due to something that might have taken place in your past. Could have been around that Aries full moon, just coming off the top of my head. But, excuse me, Aries new moon, sorry. So, that could have been when it might have happened for you guys, or even the full moon in your sign, quite frankly, which wasn't all that long ago. Could be pointing to that too. But yeah, looks like this is just saying that, it might have been a shift in perspective for you guys where, something might have come along and this probably a belief that you might have held on to for a long time too. It just might have been shattered in some way by, something that might have taken place in your lives. All right. In the present position, we have the Knight of Wands. So this is actually Sagittarius energy here. So this is your house of communication. So speaking of that, with the Mercury retrograde energy, could just be pointing to that as well. Because for me, usually the Knight of Swords comes up a lot when there's Mercury retrograde energy, which to me is usually a reminder that, hey, watch out for those miscommunications. And again, given that this is, for you guys, Sag is your third house communication, could just be pointing to that, where you might have that realization, like, you know what, I know that there's potential for that. But for some of you beyond that, it could just be saying that you're in the mood to move somewhere, maybe physically moving, or just, just getting out, doing some kind of traveling, and that's the case, watch out for some insight around that when we have that Sagittarius full moon, which is an eclipse. I think it's around May 27th or so. So for those of you who watch this when I first post this, of course, for those of you who don't see this until June, it would have already happened. But yeah, could just be pointing to that. All right. In the near future position, we have the Two of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy, and the Ten of Swords, which is Gemini energy. So on a more positive end of the spectrum, this could just be saying, if you've been going back and forth around a certain situation, that could finally be coming to an end. Now, as for what that situation would be, usually with Capricorn, we're thinking about finances, career, but for you guys, Capricorn energy is your fourth house, so could be that too. So, for those of you, or maybe if you've been trying to decide if you wanted to move somewhere, or even to move or not, could just be saying that you might actually come to a conclusion about that this month. Now, given that this is the Ten of Swords, which is the last 10 degrees of Gemini, that new moon in Gemini is going to take place right around there, and that's another eclipse too, so that could be when you might get that insight, especially given that for you guys, Gemini is your ninth house, so you could have like that type of epiphany energy hit for you guys. So, if you're feeling a bit indecisive around that type of situation, watch out for that new moon. It might actually give you the insight that you were hoping for. It might not be, still the best time to enact whatever that decision is, but it could just give you, your firm, like, all right, yep, this is the direction I want to go. Keep in mind that we are still going to have that retrograde energy, even when it wraps up, it'll still be in shadow for the rest of June. So, could be a good time to come to that decision, but not to take action on it. And, yeah, same thing if it's around career. Maybe if you guys have been juggling two sources of income, you might decide to, decide between those two sources, or if you've been looking at possibly two different job options, same thing where, this might be the month where you make that decision. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Devil. So interesting to see this show up here, because I feel like a big energy of detachment from you guys over here. But then to see this, that's like the opposite. So for some of you, could just be saying that, maybe this is you coming out of that energy. So it could just be saying that presently you might be in that Devil energy where you're just really obsessive around something. You might have that singular focus around something. Now, again, like I said, since you guys being Libras, your chart's kind of flipped. So while for, generally speaking, we think of Capricorn as career-related stuff, for you guys, this could also be your home and family environment too. So, for example, maybe you guys have been really kind of obsessively thinking about moving somewhere, right? Do you want to move? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to improve where you're already living, right? Maybe do some expansions and renovations there. And again, if this is career, same type of thing. You might have had a singular focus in that regard. But I'm seeing it more like that, if anything, that you might still be in this energy currently, and then something's going to hit for you guys where you're actually going to come out of that, be a lot more sure of yourselves, and feel like you're able to move on something, but not feel like you're necessarily tied down at the same time. So that's what I'm seeing there. All right, in the environment position, we have the Page of Pentacles. So usually I point out to people that, the ace is that energy where the idea comes through, with that hand sticking out from the clouds. And then with this, the page energies to me usually represent actually taking the action from that idea, that originated. So could just be saying again, like I was saying there, it looks like you're gonna reach some kind of conclusion. Like I said, especially maybe that Gemini new moon energy might be what hits for you, where you have the epiphany and you decide, all right, this is the direction I want to go for sure. Now you might feel like it's still a bit out of your reach, because it always sticks out to me with this deck how that Pentacle is not quite fully in his hands. So it could be one of those things where, like I said, just to take the Mercury retrograde example, and to keep it in mind anyway. So let's say this is where you're deciding between two jobs, right? So, okay, you make your decision around that Gemini new moon. Now you get the ball rolling there, so it could be the realization like, okay, this is the job I'm going to take. Maybe you even get it in writing and everything, but now there's that realization that, okay, well, now I've accepted the job, so it's going to be at least a couple more weeks until I get my first paycheck, right? So, one of those things where the ball is rolling, you know that everything's locked in and the direction you're headed in, but it just might not be tangibly in your possession just yet, All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. So I'm going to assume this is probably a fear for most of you, and I feel like this is a fear of loss, really, And the reason why that comes to mind for me is just thinking about, she has that lid on that cup, and I'm sure it is secured, but so meaning that if it does go upside down, I don't think all the contents would spill out from it. But that's still the first image that came to my mind, which is to say, okay, you put in all this work towards something, right? You make sure you protect it, you have that closed up, and there's that fear that, okay, obviously if it gets turned upside down, there's a chance that everything you've worked toward would be lost. So that could be the energy that's been driving you guys with that devil energy that we see, whether it is career, like I said, or around your home and family environment, whatever like obsessive qualities you've been applying could have just been a fear of loss, like if I don't have this obsessive energy, this constant, put this constant energy into it, then all the progress I have might be lost. I feel like that could be kind of a fear you guys have. And it's interesting too, because you guys have had Mars moving through your 10th house, so that could have been part of what did that for you too, especially if it is around career. And now Venus will be moving in there early in June, so maybe that's actually going to help soften that energy for you. So with Mars moving through your 10th, you might have felt like you really had to always be on the go and always the one making it happen. And with Venus rolling through, that might be what actually helps you guys get more of that energy of acceptance. Like, okay, you know what? Let me let it flow to me. Let me trust that I did put in the work already, right? And now let me wait to see the results come in. And in the outcome position, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So interesting. I was just talking about how that works for me with the Page versus the Ace energies. And, seeing them side by side, you can see what I mean. As far as we see that hand coming out of the cloud. So to me, that definitely feels more like an idea. Whereas the Page looks more like taking action on the idea, So on the one hand, you might look at this and see, you might feel like, oh, well, am I going backwards? I don't think that's what it is, though. I feel like it's more of pointing to what I was saying there, where it looks like there's some kind of epiphany that's going to hit for you guys. Like I said, maybe around that new moon eclipse in Gemini. That really, you feel sure of yourself that, okay, this is the move I want to make, So these two energies to me play out like they're maybe what you're already experiencing, or, will be at least toward the beginning of June. And then this, along with some of these other energies I'm seeing, lead me to think that you're going to get an epiphany around whatever the situation is that you've been racking your brains on. And that's actually going to help you feel a lot more free and able to move. All right, and bottom of the deck we have the Four of Pentacles, so more Capricorn energy here. And sometimes this card is referred to as the miser energy, but the way I see this usually is like a combination of Saturn and Mercury energy. So it's like, okay, having that stability, but thinking about how best to invest that, right? So where do I want to invest my time, my resources, my money, my energy next, right? So that's what I feel like that's primarily pointing to, and that could be where you guys are at, So like I said, whatever you think about going from two sources of income to one, or deciding between two jobs, possibly deciding to move or renovate where you're living. I feel like this is just where you're at, like thinking about, okay, have these resources, how best can I invest them? So that's what I feel like that's pointing to primarily. And like I said, if that's the case, it looks like you'll be coming out of that energy this month. All right. Your oracle card is Come to the Edge. There's the artwork, and the number is 36. So we'll see what that says. Okay, it says courage, taking a leap of faith, overcoming fear, and accepting risk. The Oracle's message. Facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. It's okay to be afraid. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You are called to express your true self. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. So, interesting message there. You know, that message and the artwork kind of reminds me of the Fool energy, which we don't see in your spread. But like I said, it does look like you guys are going to have some kind of an epiphany. So, quite frankly, like I said, I feel like these energies are pointing more to where you're at right now. And then something seems to click for you guys, including that Five of Wands in reverse, to where you're like, you know what? I'm just going to let go, you know, maybe stop trying to control things as much and let things flow to me. So that's what I'm kind of feeling there. But hopefully I resonated with you. The relationship message says it's scary to be truly intimate with someone, to allow him or her to see all of you, especially the parts that you've kept hidden and protected. Now is the time to take that risk and let yourself be seen, truly seen. It's important that you speak up, voice what you need, state who you are, say what you hope for. This is not the time to play it safe, but to take a leap of faith. You'll be glad you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step toward the gods, and they will deliver what you truly desire. So, interesting message there. And reading that, you know, I didn't really get much of a romantic relationship vibe here at all. That's what you guys are looking for. I will have the love readings probably a week from now or so. But if this is around a romantic connection, maybe that's what that devil energy is pointing to, you know, where maybe you might have kept certain parts of yourselves hidden, certain things that you're into or whatever. And with that Queen of Cups in reverse showing up there, it could just be, again, feeling like if you open up, right, if you open up that cup there, that, you know, and really let them know all of you, you might feel like you would lose them, you know, but I don't see that being the case given the spread as a whole. So hopefully that resonated. The prosperity message says, if ever there was a time for you to take a leap of faith into the unknown, it is now. This is the perfect moment to take a big risk. The unknown is the only choice now, and if you come to the edge, you will discover treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Allow your courage to lead you in spite of your fears. You don't need to know the exact form of what you're going for. The essence is much more powerful, and Spirit has a way of delivering an even better version of prosperity than you could imagine. Take that leap. The results will be amazing. So, pretty positive message there. You know, again, like I said, just keep in mind there is going to be that Mercury retrograde. So, doesn't mean you can't do anything, but just do your due diligence as far as double and triple checking any contracts you sign, things along those lines. You know, doesn't mean you have to let life come to a halt during that period. That doesn't make much sense. But yeah, hopefully that resonated with you. And lastly, we have a mudra for you guys. The mudra you guys got this month is the Nirvana Mudra. There it is there, and it's a lot of info on the back of this card, so I have to do it bit by bit. Let's see if we get it to focus. Alright, so yeah, if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to get that part, you can, and then I'll move it up so we can get the rest. Okay, so under benefits, it says weakens ego grasping, reduces selfish desire for personal gain from spiritual practice, awakens the heart of compassion, serves as a ritual gesture to conclude any practice, as well as a simple way to dedicate the merit. So if that sounds like something that you think would be beneficial for you guys, I'll put the name of the mudra in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.